Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Lucy here. I am joined by Cam Shay.
Hi, Lucy. How you doing?
I am well, thank you, Cam. Now, we are here today to talk about Expand, which you have reviewed for IGN.
I have indeed.
Tell us a little bit about this game in a nutshell.
Okay, this has been in development for 4 or 5 years. Two-person team, made in Australia, and it's a very, very interesting design. As you can see, it's a mostly black and white world with some splashes of red. Very kind of, this particular section has a very minimal kind of emotive score in the background, and you're being led around these essentially kind of concentric circle mazes and wedges, and it's all the gameplay is orientated around this central point. Now you'd think that might be kind of a limiting design space, but the guys have accomplished heaps with it. So the game goes for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, it's out on PC, by the way.
Okay.
And it's $6, which is a bargain.
That's crazy.
And the soundtrack, which I'm going to talk about a bit more, is amazing. And so you can get it with the soundtrack for $10. So I would highly recommend doing that.
Yeah.
They've eked out an awful lot with this quite simple core concept, and there's some quite clever ideas included here.
Okay.
So it's a little bit. There's a little bit of some puzzle elements, but then there's more almost platformy kind of stuff where you're navigating through hazards and the stuff kind of moving around you and you're having to get through an area.
Yeah, because I sort of played about 20 minutes of it a little earlier, and I played it back at PAX Australia last year, I think. And yeah, I noticed that one thing is you can actually get squashed.
Yes. Not only can you get squashed, but shortly, we're playing from. This is just me playing from the beginning, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't really want to give too much away. We'll talk in broad brushstrokes about how the gameplay evolves and stuff. But I think it's best just, this is kind of what the beginning of the game looks like. You can get squashed, and then it soon introduces red elements into the world.
Okay.
Which, touch that and you die. And it's kind of one of the interesting things about the game design is that you're a square in a circular world, so when you're navigating through tricky sets of obstacles, it's actually quite easy to brush things because things are circular around you, and you're anyway, it's concentric, but you're a square. So that's a little at odds with it at times, but for the most part, the difficulty is very well judged. There's only a section about 2/3 of the way through the game where I found I was getting a little bit frustrated, just having to repeat little vignettes over and over again. And the way the game works is, if you get squashed or you touch a bit of red, you just go back to the last checkpoint, which, aside from the section I just mentioned, is generally a second or two before.
Yeah.
And then the whole world spins around slightly, and so that puts a just slightly different complexion on the path ahead. It's really interesting how navigating through a space and then you shift it around a few degrees. It just changes the way you interact with it. So you're not just repeating trying to do the same bit over and over again.
Yeah.
It's actually changing subtly as you go. But yeah, for the most part, it's well judged. There's only that one area towards the end that I felt like, see there, it's rotated, and I go back to. There's only the one kind of little section where I kind of was like, I'm not really having fun now.
Right.
Because the thing about this game is that I wasn't really playing it to be challenged. I was playing it because it's a very striking presentation, fantastic soundtrack, there's some great ideas. You want to see how they're going to lead you on next, like how the world is going to emerge and be born in front of you, and how it's going to morph as you move, because sometimes things change in direct response to your movements. At other times, the space of the world itself, I'm going to die again here, the space of the world itself is morphing and elongating, just kind of at the whims of the designers.
Yep.
So you're never really too sure what to expect, and that's what's so great about this game. Not like, oh wow, I'm really good at navigating through this complex set of blocks all moving everywhere.
Right.
And I also really like there's not many kind of puzzles in the game, but the puzzles that are there, although they're kind of quite light, they're really good. It's about working out how a space works and how different rooms you have to, so a little bit of backtracking, discovering how to kind of get through a central area by exploring off different tangents and that kind of idea. So I almost wish that it was a little bit more puzzle, a little bit less kind of challengey action stuff, but that section is pretty short, and the final maybe half an hour of the game is really strong. The opening's really strong. It's a very engrossing experience for the most part.
Awesome. Let's quickly touch on the soundtrack, which is obviously a highlight for you. I mean, it clearly just from the 20 minutes I've played, it's very sort of moody and kind of evocative.
It's very deliberately trying to evoke an emotional
response,
exactly,
right? Yeah.
So you can feel it doing that, but that doesn't mean it like
it's not manipulative.
Yeah, but so what? Like that's
well,
great.
It is manipulative.
I want to. I mean, most of the time I'm a robot.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Yeah. You're a heartless man.
Humorless, heartless machine.
Yeah.
So it's nice when I can feel occasionally. The soundtrack's great. Like this opening section is very much kind of melancholic, tender kind of piano and cello and maybe a bit of strings.
Right.
But it evolves over the course of the game, and like a little bit later on, it's a little bit more electronic and a little bit more kind of a rougher kind of mood. It's fantastic. It's so great. I mean, you can see this game's so polished, and it's just so evident how much effort these two guys, Chris Larkin and Chris Johnson, have poured into it.
Yep.
It's there for you to see. The only real question is, like, what do you think of the design decisions they made along the way? And some of them sit really well with me. Some of them, maybe I think I might have done something different.
Yep.
But ultimately, it's cool when this is just clearly the product of these two guys, and you can also kind of see them exploring different ideas and, I guess, getting more confident with, again, the design space of the game.
Yeah.
One other thing that I'll just quickly point out is you would have noticed there's like a little bit of text along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And a preview build I played of this a few months ago had a little bit more.
Right.
And I spoke to them and kind of said, I like that it's not very much text, but it's kind of instructional, but also can be interpreted kind of existentially.
Yeah.
About like your place in the world and all that kind of stuff. And they were like, yeah, we're very conscious of not coming across as like indie wankers. But in the time since then and now, they've actually stripped it right back.
Right, okay.
So I obviously hadn't seen later into the game, so I don't know how much text was there originally, but there is less now. And so I think it's interesting that they went, you know what, the game design, the visual design, and the soundtrack's going to have to stand on their own. We're not going to like push the emotive element through some kind of even vague story or suggestive kind of narrative element.
Yep.
And I kind of wish they'd gone for it, because I like that indie wanker stuff when it's done well.
Yeah.
But I can also see over 3 hours it could get tiresome, because it'd just be about like being trapped in by life, and so it could actually
You're
really
a square in a circular world.
Yeah, it could actually really suck. So I'm sure that they made the decision for a very good reason.
Right.
It's just interesting that it's something that I was expecting, and then it wasn't present in the final game.
Okay, cool. Well, it sounds like you really liked it. So what have you given it as a final score?
I'm giving it 8.
Awesome.
And I mean, for the price, I would go out and get it, because it's so striking.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that you're going to play like this anytime soon. So yeah, really like it. Expand, 8. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Fantastic. For more on Expand, stick with IGN.
Bye.
Bye.